Hey guys, Tyler Ansman here with Tyler Ansman Performance. So today what we're going to talk about is how to maximize the effectiveness of your bullpens, okay? Right? It's one of the things that pretty much everybody does from a pitcher training standpoint, but how do we maximize our effectiveness when we're kind of using this tool? Okay, so the first thing is you want to determine the bullpen type. We have four kind of broad categories. We have a velocity-based session, we have a command-based session, we have a pitch design-based session, and then we have a competition-based session, okay? So these are each gonna serve different purposes, and we want to determine the purpose ahead of time, right? Likely in the plan, kind of in your build-up leading up to this point, you want to know, but certainly by the day of, you want to know what the goal is ahead of time. You want to talk to the athletes about this session, okay? So for a velocity-based session, there's a couple of ways this can go, okay? We can go either with a velocity ceiling based session, right? So a 10 RPE session, we're trying to raise that velocity ceiling, right? Your previous best mound velocity is 91. We're trying to go to 92 today, okay? That's one way. Full send. The next one is we want to keep the floor above a certain number. So maybe your velocity drops off really precipitously after the first inning or something, right? You're 93, 95 in the first inning. By inning two, you're 89, 91. Okay, we want to bring that average fastball velocity up, okay? Because your ceiling is pretty good, but your floor is not very good. So maybe this is, hey, how many fastballs can I throw above 92 miles an hour for a given day, assuming you've kind of built your throwing load to that point. And you want to have a minimum for that session, okay? The next one would be we have a +1 type session or something along these lines. We've talked about this in the past with our +1 sessions, our velo horseshoes, that kind of thing, where we have a range or we're kind of stair-stepping our way up. What we're trying to do is kind of build velocity in a relaxed fashion. Maybe this is a guy who muscles up a lot. So we have somebody who, in their 80% warm-ups, they're 85, and they're 100%, they're 85.5 or 86, right? These guys are clearly muscling up at some point. So we want to time that tension a bit more appropriately, stay relaxed a bit longer, and let that arm actually be the conduit that it's meant to be. Let that energy build through the proximal piece of the system a bit more, okay? All right, the next type of session we have is a command-based session. Right? So it can be a couple of different ways with this as well, right? How many are in the zone, straight up, right? Somebody who just deeply struggles with command. That's a really simple way. You throw to a 9-pocket or a command trainer or something along those lines. The next one would be specific pitches in specific regions, okay? So maybe you have a fastball that plays up in the zone, but for forever, right, your coaches have been telling you to throw down in the zone. So you struggle to do that, or maybe you're not comfortable with that. We want to have a session where we say, hey, all of these fastballs have to be this line or above the entire time for that to count as like a positive command score there, okay? Maybe you can't keep your new sweeper in the zone. We want to see how many of those you can do. Maybe we have specific regions we want to throw a pitch to kind of in a similar fashion to that fastball. We want to get you comfortable doing that, okay? So these are all ways we can kind of design a command session, and we'll track those things. The next one is a pitch design session, okay? So going into this, we have a specific pitch that we want to work on, right? So for example, maybe the goal is to get the split or the changeup closer to the 0 line, right? How do we kill vert to make that happen? So maybe playing with some grips, maybe doing a bunch of different things. We're going to make notes on what worked, what didn't. We're taking video, we're troubleshooting all of these things throughout the process. But we have a specific goal in mind, get the changeup or the split closer to the 0 line, okay? Maybe it's we have a slider that we want to get into a specific horizontal range, okay? Maybe we have a curveball that we just need to throw harder. So we have a velocity floor that we're setting for this one, or a velocity ceiling we're trying to reach with this curveball, right? We have a specific velocity in mind for these pitches. So it can go a couple of different ways with the pitch design session. And the final one's a competition-based session, right? So this is live ABs, right? We're stress testing your stuff and we're gonna see how it plays, okay? So you get that specific exposure, you get the feeling of facing hitters again, you get to see how your new pitches kind of perform against actual hitters, right? We may have kind of grades for these various pitches, stuff plus scores, all of these kinds of things. But until you have a hitter step in the box against these pitches, you don't know how it's going to play. So we want to see how that plays. We want to get you that exposure again to that competition instead of just being in the lab all the time. All right. So this is just kind of one way that we think about kind of how we're building out our kind of training sessions, certainly our bullpen sessions, that kind of thing, to make them more productive for the athletes in the building remotely, all the above. Thank you for watching. If you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below or reach out via email. If you'd like to learn more about remote or in-person training, feel free to do the same. We'll see you in the next video.